Hello, everybody. Today, I am here to talk to you about Adidas. As you can see, I have a few Adidas shoes in front of me. The idea for this video was to give my take on my experience with Adidas as a brand from the very beginning all the way through today, and try to demystify some of the purposes that some of these shoes might be used for, and share with you all what I think about each of these shoes. I thought a little bit about how I might want to organize this video, and I'm going to go from lowest stack to highest stack for no particular reason. So lowest stack, starting out with an absolute banger. I've talked about this a lot on this channel. The Adios 9 is a racing flat by design. It is 27 mil of stack in the heel, 20 in the forefoot, and its stated purpose from Adidas is for the 5 and 10K for a racing flat. It has a lot of the new generation of Adidas tech, such as the CPU outsole and the light lock upper. Features a version of Light Strike Pro. And another thing that I wanted to touch on in this is that I think that there are way more than the stated versions of Light Strike Pro throughout this range, and I'll sort of come to that. And maybe at the end we'll rank from softest to firmest for me, to give you an idea of why I think there is such a difference in the Light Strike Pros and all these shoes. There are only two stated versions: the Light Strike Pro Classic and the new one that is in the Adios Pro 4, which I do not own, but we'll get to that. So what do I feel about the Adios 9? I have mainly used it for daily mileage and just training purposes. I've done very few extremely fast runs in it, and I love it. This is a total love category of shoe. I've thought about getting a second pair of these. It's one of the best looking shoes in running, period. I think this could be the most aesthetic shoe from the last year. I think it's even more aesthetic than the Evo SL, which people really love. That's all about the Adios 9. I've put a lot of content out there about the Adios 9, so you could go check that out if you want more details. Takumi Sen 10. It's the previous generation of the Takumi Sen. This is the 11. I did not like this shoe at all. It was very firm, very harsh. I really wanted to love it. It is one of the first shoes that I bought for no other reason than I wanted it. This probably literally, it was the first shoe that I did that with. I bought this over a year ago, and I loved the aesthetic of it. I loved the aggression behind it, and just like the slipper-like design, the sleekness. And I was just then at the time becoming interested in doing some speed training. What I didn't like about it was the ride. It was really harsh, and the fit across the top, it was really narrow, especially in the forefoot. The heel narrowness didn't bug me at all, and as it typically doesn't. I have a fairly narrow heel and a fairly wide forefoot. I actually should have some calipers coming today to be able to finally measure that and get a better understanding of my own anatomy, which I'm excited about. But one thing that I was also excited about was the shoe, and it really disappointed me. The same cannot be said for the Takumi Sen 11. This is a bit softer. The first run in this that I did was pretty miserable, but I can't fully ascribe my misery to this shoe because it was just a challenging run overall. And the second run I did in this, which was more aligned with its intended use, was a lot better. It was an 800 workout on the track, and I was comparing this to the Streak Fly 2. So, I mean, the Streak Fly 2 is in a league of its own, but this is better than the Takumi Sen 10 in every single way. I'm not one of those people that subscribes to the term upgrade whenever they update a shoe. They update a shoe to sell you more shoes. That's why they do it. This is an upgrade, though. It is better. The foam is softer. The rods are probably the same amount of snappy, which is an accomplishment given the fact that this is maybe one of the snappiest shoes of all time. You're going to snap your toe bones off with it. It's that harsh. This is still a harsher ride. It's not for daily mileage. Like you would think that maybe these two would compare in some way as far as their use cases, like this being designed as a racing flat, this being designed as a super flat or whatever you would call it. They don't really compare. This is still for speed and only for speed, but it is fast. It feels rewarding when you're going faster, whereas the Takumi Sen 10 just felt more punishing the faster you went. I mean, it also felt like you were going faster, and it did have and does have some really good feedback from the ground, but it's just painful to run. And for me personally, not so much with the Takumi Sen 11. It is still not the nicest ride in the world, but it is very, very fast. And it's the same stack as this Takumi Sen 10, but it feels a little taller. Maybe it's just a little less harsh, so it feels like you're getting less ground contact. I don't really know. Next up, Evo SL. This is everybody's favorite shoe this year. If it's not for you, I agree with you. This is not going to be for everybody, but even one of my friends from Run Club, he just got this and is over the moon with his experience so far. So people love this shoe. I think that there's just a little bit of slop to the fit in the front particularly that I think can be rectified. And I do think that across this line, this is something that, no shortage of jabs have been thrown at Adidas for, but the laces need to be resolved. They just do. So that all being said, Evo SL, bouncy, tempo trainer, speed day shoe, really fast, really sloping rocker that rewards an extremely high cadence. So if you're a high cadence runner, even at your slower paces, you will probably be able to run slower in this. That's my take on it. Because when I am running with a high cadence in this, a lot of the issues that I have with it, with the forefoot, I guess you could call it forefoot stability, but it's really forefoot fit, sort of disappear when I'm going at a better cadence. I described this in a previous video as a motorcycle or a bicycle. Like, it's extremely unstable at slower speeds, but I think I could amend that to say to lower cadences that it's unstable, but once you get it up to the appropriate cadence or speed, because it does scale, right? Maybe not linearly for everybody, but speed and cadence go hand in hand for the most part. Then it becomes really like a good ripping option. So yeah, a lot of thoughts on the Evo SL. I do plan to do a comparison with another shoe that I'm not going to tell you about just yet, to the Evo SL, because I think I found something that could work for people that's similar to this. So stay tuned for that. Moving on to what was my first love, the Adios Pro 3. This shoe, as you can see, is dead, and may it rest in peace. It was a good soldier. You could also see that there's no laces in here. I had replaced the laces in this with the laces from the original Streak Fly, because those were really good serrated laces, and they were the only pair of serrated laces that I had at the time. And then when I needed those for the Hoka Cielo X1, I just cannibalized it right out of the Adios Pro 3. So that's why there's no laces in here. I wasn't about to put laces on it because these are retired. These were my first marathon shoe. So enough reminiscing about my own personal love of this shoe. It is a full stack, last gen racing shoe. It's carbon rods. Same with these two shoes, more or less. But it is bouncy. It had a lot of forward stability, or whatever this plane is called, front to back, obviously, but I guess, would you call that, it doesn't matter. It's got a lot of directional energetics and stability. So when you're going in a straight line, this just bounces you along relentlessly, and it locks into pace really well. That's why a lot of people love this as their long run shoe. Sort of similar to the Hoka Cielo X1, except this is a little racier, a little more aggressive in the toe off. It's got a pretty aggressive rocker. And the Light Strike Pro in here is just butter. This is a classic racing shoe from the previous generation. Obviously, like, the previous generation is a little heavier. I think this is going to be around 240 or 250 grams in my size. Don't know for sure, but it was my first true love in running shoe tech. And that brings us to the final shoe, Prime X Strung 2. I never ran in the 1. I don't intend to purchase the 3. The reason is that this shoe so radically disagreed with me, and it's a disappointment. The first component was this eyelet chain has like a bulge in here that feels plasticky that dug into my ankles. The fit is, since it's the strung upper and it's like sort of like a knit booty construction, but it's strung, it's a bunch of strings overlaid in each direction, didn't work for me. It's sort of sloppy. So if I went to lock it down, then, it didn't lock down enough and I was sliding forward and hitting the front, or I locked it down too much and this tongue, if you could even call it that, is too thin. And then I got incredible lace bite, right? And so you'll see that this has like the bubbly laces, the Caterpie laces on it. There's a reason that I switched to these. They're elastic, so they give me a little bit less lace bite. There's more stretch and give in them. And I thought that would be a way to resolve the shoe. The laces that came on this, getting back to the problem with Adidas, the perpetual problem with Adidas that they will absolutely not listen to feedback on, apparently, is that their laces are bad to the point of me being turned off of the brand, right? I'm almost done with Adidas as a brand. I'm not intending to buy any new Adidas shoes anytime soon, because they won't resolve what I view as a fatal flaw for some of their shoes, right? Maybe this Takumi Sen 10 was the next most suffered from laces. I mean, the Adios Pro 3 suffered from the lacing issue as well, but I was able to resolve it with different laces. And the midsole made it worth resolving that issue. The Takumi Sen 10, the ride didn't work for me, so I never tried to resolve the lacing issue in this. But the Prime X Strung 2, I tried several different pairs of laces, right? I tried the streak fly laces that were on this. I tried these stretchy Caterpie laces. Neither thing worked for me. It was a factor of either lace bite or or a sloppy fit, making me hit my big toenail. And maybe if I had gotten a different size, whatever, but it's the position of my foot inside of the shoe fit like other shoes that I've worn, especially in the Adidas lineup. So I don't really think it's that. So all that comes down to is that was my issue with the upper. The midsole is fantastic. It is a springy, bouncy big boy. It's heavy. Not a huge fan of heavy shoes. You'll notice that throughout all of the shoes that I talk about on this channel. Typically, they are on the lighter side. It is 50 millimeters a stack. It's a heavy shoe. I really did enjoy the ride. It had the speed assist that you would expect from a double-plated Gigantor shoe. It just didn't work for me. I mean, this plastic, I think the biggest issue was around the ankle. This plasticky eyelet piece up here really did it. And then that in tandem with the strung upper, those were the problems with it. So that's the Adidas lineup that I have for you. I've really enjoyed my time in some of these shoes. Stand out best to worst, I would go rearranging them. I would go, let's go Adios Pro 3, Adios 9, Evo SL, Takumi Sen 11, with the caveat that this could slide in here at some point, depending on how a couple more workouts go with it. Takumi Sen 10, and then the Prime X Strung 2. That's my rank. Yeah, I appreciate your attention and coming on this journey with me. If you have any questions about the Adizero lineup, I don't obviously own all of the shoes. To own all of Adidas's shoes would be an exercise in futility because they make a new shoe faster than I could even lace up shoes. So yeah, that's the summary. Oh, and before I let you guys go, I wanted to give you an overview of softness to harshness. Now, there's some that are the same, roughly the same firmness of the Lightstrike Pro. So these two for sure feel very similar to me. And so does the Evo SL to both of these, right? So I think that these are all roughly the same version as I'm squeezing them right now. This is a little softer because of the amount of miles this has on it. This has over 500 miles on it. I don't know, because I wasn't tracking my miles at the time, but I'm pretty darn sure it has over 500. This was the shoe I wore for almost all of my training block for my very first marathon, and I continued to wear it after that marathon until it was impossible to not slip. The traction is completely destroyed on it. So yeah, it's probably around 500. And so that's why, like, feeling it right now, it is marginally softer than Prime X Strung and Evo SL. The firmest out of all of these, even though I do have like 50 or 60 miles on the Takumi Sen 10, that's firmer than all of them. It's supposedly the same Lightstrike Pro that's in these three shoes, the first generation of Lightstrike Pro, but it's just not. I think that the Adios 9 feels pretty much identical to the Evo SL, like squeezing them right now. At least by hand, I think that they feel identical. This is more comfortable underfoot to walk around in than the Evo SL. So I'm really not sure. Maybe it is a little bit softer when it's loaded dynamically as it's intended to as a shoe on a foot. When squeezing it, it feels very, very similar. But because of the underfoot feel, I'd say it's a little softer. Maybe even here on the softness rankings. And again, remember, this is the same foam to me as this, but it's just been through a lot. Now, and what made me really understand that, or what made me believe that the Adios 9 is using the same foam as the Evo SL, is feeling the Takumi Sen 11. This is softer, like discernibly softer. So I think this is probably a differently tuned version of the new Lightstrike Pro and the Adios Pro 4. If I had the Adios Pro 4 here, that would be right here. It's definitely softer than the Takumi Sen 11. I tried it on in a store for a while, and I do have a pretty confident level in my ability to remember that softness because it was shocking. As at the time, I had run in at least these three shoes, or rather these four shoes, right? So when I tried on the Adios Pro 4, especially since I was such a fan of the 3, I was like, wow, that's a big radical change. That's really soft, right? So it's, I would guess it's softer than the Takumi Sen 11. That's also what a lot of people online have been saying. But yeah, relying on my memory, it would land somewhere around here. So that's the Adizero lineup through the ages, mix of old gen and new gen. Thank you all for watching. See ya.